So anyway, Evil Leaf is alright. There are some things it absolutely nails, and others that it completely bollocks up. With that, we begin in the laughably named Forest of Death, where 7 of the remaining 11 heroes have killed the others and claimed their great deeds for themselves. In short, the story is a revenge plot against these 7 heroes by the guy they chopped up, who somehow came back as this elf boy. I would say this is a spoilers since the anime took care to build up this reveal throughout the first episode, but the opening completely spoiled it, and they placed it immediately after the backstory in the first episode. This is exactly half the reason why I dislike openings in the beginning of first episodes. The other half being it's almost always a terrible introduction to the show. As I said, the anime took care to build up this reveal in the first episode, by showing Coincel helping out an innocent girl for being executed by some cartoonishly evil priests, him accepting help by this guy, and by enjoying himself a little. It's not subtle by any means, but it gets the job done. He's shown to be kind but not naive, serious but can enjoy himself, and can express a good range of emotions. Essentially the basic traits for a protagonist you can root for. Later on in the episode, you're introduced to a mystery hook with him, when his moon's power-up is revealed. How it's revealed, you ask? Well, during a fight with this random lusty troll thing, he gets grabbed, crushed, and punched into the solid stone ceiling, and somehow he doesn't turn into raspberry jam. Likewise, this eye patch guy, who's just a regular man by the way, survives getting slung into a brick wall and survives a long spine-first fall onto the stone floor. Yeah, not gonna lie, every fight scene in this was just terrible. The priest raiding the smuggler den suddenly disappeared the moment Coincel arrives, who himself took his sweet-ass time to help out. These two somehow survive a massive horde of Resident Evil zombies, while the big bad is doing this nonsense. The mini-boss fight with that guy was woefully choreographed, in which Coincel had his arms skewered, but that was entirely forgotten about a second later. The sword fight with the first of the 7 heroes was okay, right up until these puppeted women teleport in at just the right moment, and Coincel gets this completely out of nowhere power-up that doesn't affect him negatively, etc, etc. In stark contrast, the overarching conflict of Coincel endeavouring to kill these 7 guys is really good. First, you're shown him being stabbed by some evil guys and the Age of Heroes beginning. With this in the back of your mind, we cut to a stranger 20 years later who saves innocent people from evil priests who are working for one of the 7. The reveal then comes about with him reminiscing with the remains of his former comrade, who sacrificed himself to create the Empire barrier thing. It's a nice personal touch for our protagonist before he embarks on his bloody revenge. When the barrier falls, you see the Empire citizens cheer on the 7 heroes, establishing just how beloved they are, and just how unpopular Coincel will be. Simultaneously, we're also shown how reliant these 7 are on their public image, giving the audience a rising hope that their evil deeds will be exposed for all to see. This also rids any notion of Coincel's revenge having any negative side effects, since they're actively slaughtering many innocent people behind the scenes. Essentially, the plot takes every step to make you root for the protagonist to kill these cartoonishly evil heroes. Actually, cartoonishly evil doesn't do it justice. These guys slaughter hundreds of innocent people for their own experiments, all that on top of the public executions and the random people they just kill themselves. With all this, one wonders how they can possibly keep up their virtuous image. Which brings me to the dire world building. The 7 heroes seem to govern their own territories within the Empire. There's an emperor above them, who also granted this city free status, and all of which is bordering a vague deserty region. So question for you, how big do you reckon this empire is? Because I've got no damn clue. You aren't given any kind of map, any map that isn't frustratingly useless. And you aren't given any stated distance between areas. The free city could be within eyesight of the previous fortress and the capital, or it could be half a continent away. Who knows? Giving the best possible benefit of the doubt, the idea of the free city, 8 electors to decide the emperor and all the German names, I can assume the anime is inspired by the Holy Roman Empire. But if we go by that, it raises countless further questions. Where the hell are the many other borders? What does the borderlands represent? What the hell is the size of the population? And above all, the HRE was impressively divided. While here, the empire seems to be entirely unified and all under these 7 guys, unlike the established emperor or his electors. Even the church seems to worship the heroes. So what exactly is the goddamn power structure here? So other than the moons somehow staying in the same orientation day after day, that's the full extent of the world building, which leaves the characters. We've gone through Coincel, who is pretty good as a protagonist, and as stated, the bad guys are a bunch of evil bastards, which serves their function in what the story's going for. The rest of the cast aren't anywhere near as good. Pee-Pee is just a child who occasionally sobs and screams. Mr. Eyepatch here drives one airship and buggers off from the plot. This lady is at first driven to kill Cohenzel for killing her brother, but forgets all about that the moment they go to rescue her sister, and then instantly becomes obsessively devoted to him the moment they do. Oh yeah, and Boob Lady. I'd say only the Honorbound 4 and the fun Garapan are the only alright side characters in this. So the characters are a complete mixed bag, but this brings me to what's unique about this show. Of the 3 pillars of storytelling, it's easy to see how a great world building can support mid to bad characterization and plot. Likewise, how great characters can do something similar. Übel Blatt is a rare example of how a great plot can hold up a bad world and mixed characters. So despite the terrible world building and the bad fight scenes, it leaves you curious to see where it ends up, and makes you root for the protagonist and his goal throughout the story. Overall, it's an alright show and serves a good example of how to do a plot well. What are the goals of your plot and how to achieve them? Well, you can learn quite a bit from looking at this one.